Nobody wants me. Montana Territory, 1882. The auction bell rang 3 times. A crowd gathered beneath the wooden awning of the county courthouse, where families who had fallen into debt were being forced to sell their remaining possessions and labor contracts. But that morning, one little girl stood alone on the platform. Her name was Lily Carter. She was only 7 years old. Her gray dress was too large for her thin frame, and her golden-brown hair hung loosely around her tear-stained face. She held an old teddy bear tightly against her chest, the only thing her mother had managed to leave her. Next, the auctioneer called. Lily looked across the crowd. Nobody stepped forward. She lowered her eyes. Then, in a voice barely louder than the wind, she whispered, "Nobody wants me." A few men looked away. Then someone at the edge of the crowd moved. A tall cowboy stepped forward. His name was Ethan Cole. He was in his late 30s, wearing a black cowboy hat, cream-colored frontier shirt, dark leather vest, and worn boots. A revolver hung at his hip, but his expression was calm. The crowd became silent. Ethan walked toward the platform. The auctioneer frowned. "Mr. Cole, this isn't your concern." Ethan looked at Lily. Then he looked back at the auctioneer. "It is now." The auctioneer lowered his voice. "You don't understand. The girl's father owes money to the Black Ridge Company." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Then settle the man's debt through the proper courts." The auctioneer laughed nervously. "You planning to challenge the entire county?" Ethan stepped onto the platform. "No." He looked toward Lily. "I'm challenging you." The crowd murmured. Lily stared at him. Ethan crouched several feet away so he wouldn't frighten her. "You don't have to be afraid." Lily tightened her grip on the teddy bear. "Are you going to take me somewhere?" "Yes." "Where?" "My ranch." She looked uncertain. "Why?" Ethan paused. "Because you need somewhere safe." For the first time that morning, Lily looked up. Then a voice shouted from the crowd. "She belongs to her father." Everyone turned. A large man pushed through the crowd. Caleb Rusk. He owned half the cattle routes around the territory and had a reputation for getting whatever he wanted. He pointed at Lily. Her father signed a contract. Ethan stepped between him and the platform. "She's a child." Rusk smiled coldly. "And you're interfering with my business." Ethan's hand remained away from his weapon. "I'd choose your next words carefully." Rusk took another step. "So would I." Before the confrontation could escalate, the sheriff appeared. "Enough." Rusk backed away. But as Ethan helped Lily down from the platform, she whispered, "Mr. Cole." He looked down. "My father told me never to trust a man with a silver ring." Ethan froze. "Why?" Lily pointed toward Rusk. "He has one." Ethan looked at Rusk's hand. A silver ring gleamed beneath his glove. His expression changed. "Lily, what else did your father tell you?" She lowered her voice. "He said if anything happened to him, I should never tell anyone where Mama hid the blue book." Ethan stared at her. "What blue book?" Before Lily could answer, a gunshot cracked somewhere outside. The crowd scattered. Ethan immediately pulled Lily behind him. A second shot struck the wooden railing. The sheriff shouted for everyone to get down. 3 riders appeared at the far end of the street. Rusk looked toward them. Then he smiled. Ethan noticed. "You knew they were coming." Rusk turned and ran. Ethan didn't chase him. He grabbed Lily's hand. "Stay beside me." They hurried toward the horses. Lily looked frightened. "Are those the bad men?" Ethan mounted. "Yes." "Why are they after me?" Ethan lifted her carefully onto the saddle in front of him. I don't know yet. Then he looked toward the mountains. But we're going to find out. They rode hard through the dust while the three riders followed. And behind them, Caleb Rusk watched from the courthouse balcony. His silver ring flashed in the sunlight. He whispered, "Bring me the girl." By sunset, Ethan's ranch was nearly 20 miles behind them. He locked the front door and checked every window. Lily sat beside the fireplace with her teddy bear in her lap. Ethan placed a bowl of warm food in front of her. "You should eat." She stared at him. "Are you going to send me away tomorrow?" Ethan sat across from her. "No. Even if nobody pays you? You aren't something people pay for." Lily looked confused. Ethan continued. "You're a child who needs a home." Her eyes filled with tears. She quietly asked, "Can I stay tonight?" Ethan nodded. "You can stay as long as you need." For the first time in a long while, Lily smiled. But the moment didn't last. A horse suddenly screamed outside. Ethan stood. He reached for his rifle. Lily whispered, "They found us." Ethan moved to the window. 4 riders were approaching. And leading them was Caleb Rusk. Ethan turned toward Lily. "Go to the cellar." "What about you?" "I'll handle this." Lily shook her head. "My father said brave people don't always fight." Ethan looked at her. "What did he mean?" She pointed toward the floor. "He said sometimes you win by making the bad men think you ran away." Ethan smiled slightly. "Your father was a smart man." He quickly moved Lily through a hidden passage beneath the kitchen floor. Then he stepped outside. Rusk stopped his horse. "You're making this difficult, Cole." Ethan stood on the porch. "You brought 4 men to my ranch for a little girl." Rusk smiled. "She knows where something is." "What?" "The blue book." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "What is in it?" Rusk's smile disappeared. "Something that could destroy powerful men." Ethan understood. The book wasn't about Lily. It was evidence. Rusk's entire operation might be recorded inside it. Suddenly, one of the riders fired. The bullet struck the porch railing. Ethan dove behind a wooden post. The fight began. He moved quickly between the barn and the house, using the darkness for cover. One rider tried to reach the back door. Ethan intercepted him. They struggled beside the water trough until Ethan knocked the man's weapon away. Another rider rushed from the barn. Ethan ducked beneath the attack and sent him stumbling into the snow. But Rusk had already reached the house. He kicked the door open. "Lily." Silence. He searched the room. Nothing. Then he noticed the fireplace. A tiny teddy bear lay beside it. Rusk smiled. She was here. Behind the hidden wall, Lily covered her mouth. Ethan appeared behind Rusk. "Looking for something?" Rusk turned. The 2 men faced each other. Neither moved. Then Rusk attacked. The struggle carried them through the doorway and into the yard. Ethan stumbled. Rusk grabbed his coat. "You should have stayed out of this." Ethan pushed him away. "You should have left that child alone." Rusk reached for his weapon. Before he could draw it, the sheriff rode into the yard with several deputies. Caleb Rusk. Rusk looked toward the road. His men were already surrendering. The sheriff raised a document. "We found the original contracts." Rusk's face went pale. "The blue book," Ethan said. The sheriff nodded. Lily's father sent a copy to the territorial marshal before he disappeared. Rusk stared at Ethan. "You think you've won?" Ethan looked toward the house. "No." He glanced at Lily, who had stepped out of the hidden passage. I think she has. Lily slowly walked toward him. Ethan crouched. She wrapped both arms around his neck. Are you going to leave now? Ethan shook his head. No. Promise? I promise. She looked at the ranch around them. Can I stay here? Ethan smiled. This is your home now. Lily looked down at her teddy bear. Then she smiled. And for the first time since she had stepped onto that auction platform, she no longer looked like a child waiting to be chosen. She looked like a child who finally knew she belonged somewhere. The next morning, the sheriff took Rusk and his men away. The county learned the truth about the illegal contracts. Families received their land back. And the auction platform where Lily had once stood was eventually torn down. Years later, people still told the story of the wealthy cowboy who walked onto that platform when everyone else looked away. But Ethan always corrected them. He hadn't bought Lily. He had stood up for her. And Lily never forgot the words he whispered to her that first morning. You were never unwanted. You were simply waiting for someone brave enough to see your worth. The end.